right, guys, so we are back again. We have just been sitting around the house most of the time on the weekends. I'm obviously out at work while Noelle's working at home. And I figured we'd start watching some of the streaming stuff. And then we decided we're going to dive into Disney Plus and pick some of the more obscure things, some of the more live action, older Disney movies that we maybe grew up with as kids. And yeah, we found some pretty interesting gems in there.
Yeah, first I wanted to touch base, Freaky Friday, Lindsay Lohan remake, and I wanted, I remember seeing that movie, being all pumped. I wanted to emulate Lindsay Lohan's style in that movie. Don't know why, but I thought she was cool. And that movie is actually really fun rewatching it. Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan work really well together.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun, lighthearted Disney film. I mean, also, let's not forget about Chad Michael Murray with his, swishback hair.
It's
and everybody.
very, classic of its time.
It is.
And I think, honestly, the idea of the Freaky Friday, the swapping thing, is just fun. And Jamie Lee Curtis is this kind of stuffy older woman.
Yeah.
And then Lindsay Lohan is, the rebellious teen.
But Jamie Lee Curtis, when they switch, she plays a really good, teenager.
Yeah.
I love that
I think it's funny how good I think Lindsay Lohan was at that time. I mean, between that, Mean Girls, she had some classic movies. So it's a shame what's happened since then. She has a new single out, though. Yeah. Check it out.
Yeah.
But I really do think it was a fun movie. It's something that kind of stands, like Mean Girls. I'm surprised it doesn't have that cult status. Maybe because Mean Girls has such iconic lines into it. But
one's PG, one's PG-13 too.
That's true. Yeah, but it is a fun classic Disney movie.
The other movie I touched base on was Parent Trap. You see a little Lindsay Lohan theme. Didn't mean for it to stumble upon that like that, but it was literally, do you want to watch this? And I was like, I haven't seen this in forever. So I popped it on. And that's a really good, young age movie. Lindsay Lohan, at that age, she was really good.
Me and Noelle were talking about this. Did you notice in, all those, early 2000s, late 90s, Disney movies that every parent is super rich and they had these huge houses. Everyone talks about Home Alone, but watch those Disney movies. They all must just be millionaires. And I just wanted, I don't know.
It's true. Dennis Quaid is their father in that movie. He has this nice California mansion. Their mom lives in England, is a designer. And it's just funny, but that is so classic 90s nostalgia in their movies.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just this weird formula of all those movies at the same time. They all feel very similar. Parent Trap, you watch Parent Trap or you watch basically anything that came out during that time. It has that same elements to it. And it's just warm. It's that warm, cozy, kind of junk food of movies to watch when you're stuck at home. Makes you feel good.
It definitely has a cozy feeling watching Parent Trap. And the next movie I watched was Princess Diaries. They have that really sweet, they have those really sweet nostalgia feeling where it's just happy. And I don't feel like we have a lot of those really warm, kind of fuzzy, happy movies these days.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're going to have a little bit more of a resurgence with it with Disney Plus because some of their originals they put out Noelle, Lady and the Tramp, and even Togo doing Scent. They're very warm and heartfelt. Call the Wild was the same way. So I don't know if we're going to see a resurgence of that with people diving more into the Disney archives and seeing these movies they haven't watched. But Parent Trap's another example of that. It's a fun, wholesome movie.
Yeah, and the next movie I decided to watch, because, why not? Princess Diaries, Anne Hathaway, Julian Andrews is this awesome. I love that movie. I love the whole concept of this young girl who doesn't think she's anybody, and she turns out to be, this princess and heir to the throne and everything. And that's another just great, fun movie.
Yeah, it's a classic concept of the not knowing how important you really are and discovering who you are through that and things like that. So I that has some really good messaging in it.
Yeah,
of the films that we've watched, that has some of the best messaging. And it's kind of a silly movie. It's a fun, silly movie.
Yeah.
But it does really push home some really heartfelt stories about identity and who you are and family and things like that and friendship. So I mean, some of those early Disney films, as cheesy as they are, they do get across the points they're trying to do. I feel like when you do it now in cinema, it seems kind of cheesy and goofy because you're trying to take it more seriously. But when you're watching a movie like that, it's a fun movie for a younger demographic. So it works better, in my opinion. They are still pretty cheesy, though.
They are.
All right, so the movie that I picked, because I had never seen it before, and we had just watched Mrs. Doubtfire a couple weeks ago, so I was like, man, Robin Williams is so incredible. I need to go and watch more Robin Williams movies. Went on Disney Plus, and I found Jack, and I was like, this movie has all these great actors in it, and it's directed by Francis Ford Coppola of Apocalypse Now and Godfather, and I did not know what I was getting in for with this one.
Let's just say it's a very interesting movie. I understand what they're going for, for the heartfelt message of the story.
Yeah. It's an incredibly sad movie.
It's a sad movie, and it's this film very strange, in my opinion.
It's odd because basically, if you've never seen this movie, which I hadn't seen it, and I didn't even know it existed. I kind of like people joke about it, and I had like heard it referenced before. But basically, Robin Williams is playing a kid. So was he 10 in the movie?
Yeah,
but his body is rapidly aging. So he's looks like he's 40 or 50 because it's Robin Williams, but he's supposed to be a 10-year-old, and it's so strange. Like, you're watching it, and he's doing a good job. Don't get me wrong. It feels like a lot of times they just let Robin Williams do whatever he wanted, and that came off really zany, and it doesn't really work for the script because he has the comedy of a 40 or 50-year-old man at times. But it's so ridiculous and over the top that while it is a goofy and not a great movie by any means, I was enjoying watching it.
The score in the film was very interesting.
Oh, it's horrible. It's not interesting. It's a really bad score.
So I was putting it lightly, okay?
Well, the thing, it's a movie that has some really touching and really serious moments in it, but they underscore it with some of the weirdest comedy and a very like cheesy, whimsical score over like serious events. Like, I don't know. I didn't look up who did the score for it. I'm sure they're probably a good composer that's done other movies. But I was weird. Like, I feel like they got the script and it's like, oh, Francis Ford Coppola's making it. Like, I feel like everyone involved was like Francis Ford Coppola's making this movie.
We're gonna do this movie. Diane Lane's in it. Jennifer Lopez is in it.
Yeah,
and it's just
it's strange. You should check it out. Like, if you haven't seen it,
there's
you should check it
one
out.
particular scene we had to go back because I was so caught off guard with the comedy in it.
Yeah.
No, the kid, they're talking about what they want to be in the future.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay, so like I said, the movie does randomly take some adult humor to it. And there's like a scene where they're all talking about what they want to be when they grow up. It's like a big theme. Because Robin Williams' character, he goes and he wants to go to school. He wants to be like a normal kid. His parents have been keeping him away. He wants to, experience being a kid. So he goes to school and they have a project of what you want to be when you grow up. It's a big theme of it. Because for him, I mean, it's... Okay, this is one of the weird things. A side note. They're talking about it. And he's like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And he just says alive. And I'm like, that is so sad. Like,
it is very deep.
And then it will go really goofy. But what the joke thing that we were talking about is this kid's like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And he says he wants to be a gynecologist. Yeah. And Jennifer Lopez is the teacher. And she's like, why would you want to be a gynecologist? She's like, because of you. I'm like, what was that? It's such a weird, like, it's almost like he just hit on her, like this little 10-year-old kid.
I literally had him rewind because
I didn't believe that he said that.
I was so confused in that moment.
There were a couple moments in the movie where I literally I had to go back and be like, did they just say that? That just happened in this movie? And maybe that is why it has such a low score on every reviewing site. Yeah. But it has some really endearing moments, like it really serious stuff, especially towards the third act of the film, when you realize that he's gonna die, like in the next 10 years he's not going to live to be 20 or whatever. And there's even like a really heartfelt scenes at the end at graduation. And I don't know, it's so strange because it's such a weird blend of really good performance in his role by Robin Williams, and everyone in it's not really that bad. The kids are not great, but I mean, they're kid actors. But I don't know, it's such a mixed bag, and I want to know if any of you have watched this movie.
Has any of you all like rewatched any of these movies, or did you ever see Jack, or when you're younger?
Yeah, I just want to have like a conversation in the comments. I feel like a lot of people are home right now. You're watching content that you probably would never normally watch, like us. So comment down below if you've checked out any of the weirder, older, more obscure Disney films from Disney Plus, or you're driving into like the back alleys of Netflix and Hulu, finding whatever you can find. So comment down below. Maybe give us some recommendations of things you want us to check out and talk about. So yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. And yeah, just thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye, guys.
Bye.